Next, we have the honor of having Anna Julia Cooper with us, a remarkable educational theorist and advocate for social justice. Cooper's work on transformative education and problem-posing education has made a lasting impact. Let's explore how these methods can be applied in the context of art education. Welcome, Anna.
I'm delighted to be here and engage in this important conversation. I was born into slavery, Raleigh, North Carolina, and dedicated my life to advocating for educational and social equality for African Americans and women. I passed away on February 27, 1964, by natural causes at the age of 105.
Wow, your life was an amazing story and the legacy you left behind is truly profound. Your work deals with the idea of education as holding the potential to be transformative, fostering critical thinking and empowerment. How do you believe transformative education and problem-posing education can be integrated into art education?
In art education, transformative education can be achieved by encouraging students to critically engage with the world through their artistic expressions. By posing thought-provoking questions, challenging established norms, and fostering creative exploration, we empower students to think critically and express themselves authentically. Problem-posing education encourages students to question and analyze the social and cultural forces that shape artistic practice. Through these methods, art education can become a platform for personal growth, social awareness, and cultural transformation.
That's a powerful approach. However, what if students resist the idea of emancipation and do not believe change is possible or necessary? Can transformative education still be effective in such circumstances?
It is important to acknowledge that social conditioning and cultural hegemony can limit individuals' ability to envision alternatives and desire change. Antonio Gramsci's insights on cultural hegemony shed light on this issue. Transformative education faces challenges when students are conditioned to accept the existing order without questioning it. This sense of fatalism can be a result of never being presented with viable options for change or being taught to think critically. However, it is precisely in such contexts that transformative education becomes even more vital. By providing students with opportunities for critical reflection, encouraging dialogue, and presenting counter-narratives, we can challenge their fatalism and open pathways for change.
Thank you for your thoughtful response, Anna. I appreciate your insights on the influence of social conditioning and the importance of offering viable alternatives. Now, let's shift our focus to the role of the teacher. Does the problem-posing education approach place the teacher in a compromising situation? Are there risks associated with raising certain problems within certain social contexts?
You raise an important point. Problem-posing education, by its nature, can be controversial, especially when it challenges dominant narratives or societal norms. This does put teachers in a challenging position, as they may encounter resistance or backlash for raising certain issues. In some cases, teachers may need to censor their own opinions or be cautious in how they navigate sensitive topics. Unfortunately, this compromises the essence of problem-posing education and its potential to foster critical thinking and dialogue. In the context of art education, this compromise can be particularly detrimental to experimental and inquiry-based approaches, as it limits the exploration of certain questions and ideas.
Your perspective sheds light on the complexities educators face when implementing problem-posing education. The need for cautious navigation of sensitive topics is evident, yet it can hinder the open exploration of ideas and hinder experimental models. Thank you, Anna, for your candid response and insights into these challenges. Next in line, we have the esteemed philosopher Michel Foucault joining us. Michel, your groundbreaking work on power, knowledge, and the dynamics of institutions has had a profound impact on various fields. It's an honor to have you here today. For our audience, could you briefly introduce yourself and your work?
Thank you, David. I'm delighted to be here. My work centers on the examination of power relations and the ways in which they shape knowledge, institutions, and society as a whole. I have explored various topics, including the dynamics of disciplinary institutions, the construction of knowledge through historical discourse, and the relationship between power and subjectivity.
Thank you, Michel, for that introduction. Now, I would like to delve into the realm of arts education. In an institutional context, such as art schools, students often receive grades for their work. This seems to imply that art schools are product-oriented environments. What are your thoughts on this issue, particularly in relation to the idea of process-based learning within the arts?
That's an intriguing question. The presence of grades in art schools does indeed indicate a certain product-oriented approach within the institutional framework. However, it is important to look beyond the surface and examine the underlying dynamics of labor and production within these educational institutions. Art schools, like other disciplinary institutions, operate within a system that often emphasizes outcomes, measurable results, and conformity to established standards. This can create an environment where the focus shifts towards the final product, potentially overshadowing the significance of the creative process itself. The grading system can further reinforce this tendency by quantifying and valuing the end result rather than the artistic exploration and the development of individual expression.
That's a fascinating perspective, Michel. It seems that art schools, as disciplinary institutions, influenced by larger societal expectations and structures of power. How do you see the relationship between the dynamics of labor and production within art schools and the notion of the school as a disciplinary institution?
Art schools, like other educational institutions, can function as disciplinary mechanisms that produce and regulate knowledge and behavior. They often reinforce established norms, creating a system of surveillance and control that shapes the practice and subjectivity of students. The emphasis on grades, conformity to predetermined standards, and the pressure to produce can contribute to the disciplining of artists, aligning their work with prevailing expectations and conventions. This disciplinary framework, while providing certain structures and opportunities for artistic growth, can also limit the exploration of alternative perspectives, experimentation, and the full realization of creative potential. It is essential to critically engage with the dynamics of power and production within art schools, and to create spaces that encourage process-based learning, self-expression, and the questioning of established norms.
Thank you, Michel, for shedding light on the intricate dynamics at play within art schools and their relationship to disciplinary institutions. Your insights prompt us to reflect on the ways in which power operates in the context of arts education and challenge us to strive for more inclusive, creative, and process-oriented approaches that value the artistic journey as much as the final product. Next, in our ongoing exploration of education and productivity, we have a distinguished guest joining us today. Please welcome philosopher and economist Adam Smith. Adam lived in the 1700s in Scotland and died of pneumonia on July 17, 1790. Adam, it's a pleasure to have you back from the dead to talk to us today. For those in our audience who may not be familiar with your work, Adam Smith is widely known as the father of modern economics, with his influential book, The Wealth of Nations. Adam, in our previous discussion, we explored the idea of art teachers facilitating greater productivity within the art classroom. Could you share your thoughts on this matter?
Thank you, David. I'm delighted to be here. I have often contemplated the relationship between education and productivity, and how teachers can play a role in fostering greater productivity within the classroom. As I see it, the teacher's role in facilitating productivity within the art classroom is paramount. I see the teacher as a factory boss, ensuring efficient production of artwork. By utilizing techniques of division of labor and mass production, teachers can dramatically improve productivity. For instance, let's consider a contemporary mixed-media artwork. The teacher could divide each process into specific tasks assigned to individual students. One student could focus solely on painting in red, another on cutting and sticking, and yet another on spraying certain elements. This approach transforms each student into a specialist in their assigned operation, allowing for efficient and high-volume production. In fact, teachers could employ this method across all of their art classes in the school. By becoming a content manager and mass-producing classes, a teacher can impress employers with the quality and of their teaching reflected through the quantity of works that are produced.
That's an interesting perspective, Adam. However, some may raise concerns about the quality of the artwork produced using this approach. How would you address these concerns?
Guaranteeing quality is indeed crucial, David. As a content manager, the teacher plays a vital role in ensuring the right choices are made by students. To achieve this, the teacher should limit the students' choices, directing them towards what is considered the right choice for a particular artwork. To illustrate, imagine you want the students to paint a banana. Instead of providing them with a whole bowl of fruit, hand them the banana directly. Similarly, the teacher should ensure students have only the appropriate colors and media necessary to complete the work. By limiting options, the probability of failure decreases, and the desired quality can be achieved. It's essential to note that the failure of students would be perceived as the teacher's failure as well. This puts the responsibility on the teacher to guide and shape the artistic process to meet the expected standards.
Thank you, Adam, for elaborating on your approach to ensuring both productivity and quality within the art classroom. Your analogy highlights the importance of guiding students towards specific choices to achieve desired outcomes. However, some might argue that such limitations could stifle students' creativity and personal expression. How do you respond to this concern?
A valid concern, David. While limitations may exist, it is important to strike a balance between productivity and creative expression. The teacher's guidance and direction should not suppress individuality but rather serve as a framework within which students can develop their unique artistic voice. By providing focused choices and appropriate resources, teachers can guide students towards achieving both productivity and quality while allowing room for creative interpretation within those boundaries. It is a delicate balance that requires the teacher to facilitate and nurture the individuality of each student while ensuring the desired outcomes are met.
Thank you, Adam, for sharing your insights on art education and productivity. As we continue to explore the complexities of teaching, it is crucial to consider the multifaceted nature of student growth and artistic expression. Striking a balance between guidance and creative freedom remains a challenge that educators face in fostering both productivity and individuality in the art classroom. Our next guest speaker is renowned psychologist Lev Vygotsky. Lev, thank you for joining us today. We just had a lively debate on the use of division of labor in art education. What are your thoughts on the matter?
Thank you, David. I must vehemently refute the notion put forth by Adam Smith regarding the use of division of labor in art education. This approach is a form of alienated labor that perpetuates unequal power dynamics between teachers and students. It is essential to address the imbalances within contemporary art schools, where teachers often exploit students as unpaid labor to achieve their own ambitions. The focus should be on providing quality education rather than relying solely on the reputation of prominent artists to bolster the prestige of the institution. Art schools should not become factories that churn out products. Instead, they should foster an environment that nurtures creativity, critical thinking, and individual expression.
Lev, your critique raises important concerns about power dynamics within art education. In a recent paper by art theorist Mike Neary called Student as Producer, he proposes a reimagining of the relationship between students and teachers. Do you have any observations on how we can address the unequal power dynamics and promote a more equitable learning environment?
Absolutely, David. To alleviate the unequal power dynamics, art schools must shift towards a more collaborative and participatory model of education. Teachers should act as facilitators, creating spaces for dialogue and co-creation. Students should be encouraged to be active agents in their own learning process, not just passive recipients of knowledge. Furthermore, it is crucial to establish mechanisms for student involvement in decision-making processes within art schools. Students should have a say in curriculum development, assessment methods, and overall governance. This approach empowers students, cultivates their agency, and fosters a sense of ownership and responsibility for their education. Additionally, art schools should strive to create a supportive and inclusive environment that values diverse perspectives and encourages open dialogue. By dismantling the traditional hierarchical structure, we can create a space where students and teachers can engage in meaningful collaborations and co-construct knowledge together.